in today's day and age, in 2024, where we are, probably the highest currency that we can have as a coach or consultant is trust. Okay. And I think maybe 5 years ago or 3 years ago, what worked really well was, okay, I'm going to give you, like, drive you to a funnel. You're going to watch this video, fill out this form, or like more of the more traditional techniques. So knowing that trust is the highest currency and we want to scale trust as quickly as possible and get people to trust us so that they can do business with us, that's sort of like the overarching theme of the strategies. It makes you different, and like it gives them peace of mind, because people are just skeptical about coaches and consultants because it's
Mm.
the barrier of entry is absolutely zero. And there's some really good ones and there's some unfortunate poor ones who want to word vomit information to you or just like get you in for a deal and like don't have a process, haven't done it for themselves, don't have like a roadmap, like don't really have any accountability checkpoints. And it's like, yeah, no wonder. So I
Yeah.
think that's the stuff that like gets people from like skeptical to like, cool, I trust you because you guys have done this 100 times, have a roadmap, have a process, have a team, all that sort of stuff. Understand their pain points, empathize with them. I think the expectations of the consumer is, I don't want to like jump on one-to-ones or a group call and then just be flooded with a bunch of information and then not know what
Mhm.
to do with that information.
Mhm.
And what we should do as coaches, in my opinion, is we need to do everything that we can humanly do for our clients to get them to the outcome.
If you want to build a legitimate, profitable online business without shiny objects, without the hypey gimmicks, and without the stress and overwhelm, if you want to make more money without having to be present online all day, every day, pumping out content that nobody sees and hustling DMs to generate leads and sales, then this is the place for you. Welcome to the Digital Trailblazer podcast, your online business university, where you'll learn how ordinary people start from ground zero with no influence, no email list or audience to sell to, and no business or marketing experience, and go from working 9-to-5 jobs to building successful 6- and 7-figure online businesses and all the steps in between. Learn the strategies that worked and what didn't. Learn the mistakes that they made and how to avoid them, and then learn their plans for scaling their businesses and taking things to the next level. All so that you can build your business faster and easier and make more money without sacrificing the things that are important to you in your life. I'm your host, Leah Ray Getz, and with me is my husband, Todd. Now, let's get to it with today's guest. Welcome, Digital Trailblazers. I'm super excited for this conversation today. Today, we brought on Austin Schneider, who's doing some really cool things to get more booked appointments on your calendar. So we're going to walk through all of that and how to increase the customer value by doing some cool done-for-you stuff. So welcome, Austin. Super excited to have you with us today.
Thanks for having me. Looking forward to sharing some stuff, and hopefully people listening can have some really strong takeaways from this episode.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we get into deep into the strategy and what's working right now, tell folks a little bit about what you're doing so they have a little context.
Yeah. So about, or I guess in 2018, started a marketing agency, and we grew that rather quickly. And how we grew it was by having a really strong offer, having really good systems in place, having an awesome team, and having a predictable way to get new clients. And last year, I transitioned out, hired a CEO to run the agency, who was a creative agency doing mostly content. And I could focus on consulting because, one, I'm a builder, entrepreneur by heart. Two, my wife really wanted to move out of state, and we had like a studio in Seattle and kind of had to make some exceptions there. So now, over the last year or so, I guess almost 2 years now, I've been consulting agencies and helping them predictably grow using the same pillars that helped us predictably grow. So myself and my co-founder Gilberto, we help agencies basically go from being an operator to an orchestrator, and not just get a bunch of leads, but how to actually grow a business. So you're not like a slave to your business, and you have the systems and infrastructure and operations and all the fun stuff that comes with business.
Yeah, I think that's really important because all too often folks get started and the idea is to be your own boss and you end up being your own employee and
Totally.
working constantly all the time and not being
Yeah.
able to kind of step back. So congratulations on that. That's huge for you and your family. I want to get into this whole Instagram funnel thing that you're doing that's working really well for booking appointments to people's calendars. So kind of
Mhm.
walk us through the overall framework and we'll kind of get into the nitty-gritty.
Yeah, so the main business is coaches, so probably a lot of people listening can relate. So we know that basically there's a lot of coaches out there, right? There's a lot of different
Mhm.
coaches, a lot of different things. I see 100 different ads for different coaches every single day that I open up Instagram. And in today's day and age, in 2024, where we are, probably the highest currency that we can have as a coach or consultant is trust. Okay. And I think maybe 5 years ago or 3 years ago, what worked really well was, okay, I'm going to give you, like, drive you to a funnel. You're going to watch this video, fill out this form, or like more of the more traditional techniques. So knowing that trust is the highest currency and we want to scale trust as quickly as possible and get people to trust us so that they can do business with us, that's sort of like the overarching theme of the strategy. So what we do is we run ads on our Instagram. So we're actively building our brand, which every coach, consultant, course creator should be actively building their brand to scale trust. So we drive traffic to our Instagram, and we drive traffic to our Instagram in the form of followers and in the form of DMs. And the DM is to have them opt in for us to send them a video, a training of some sort, or learn more about the actual program that we're selling. And then in the DMs is when we have a conversation with them and can do a lot of like the front loading of the work, which is typically done after they book a call, and you have to qualify them, all that sort of stuff, and hope that they show up for the appointment. So you can do all that in the direct messages, build a relationship, and convert them into a call. Or if they don't convert to a call, they become a follower, which I think is like equity in a follower. Like, think there's a lot of value in that, and they start seeing your content. They continue to see your content, and then they're probably going to continue to see your ads. So that's pretty much the overarching strategy. Is like, from a high level of it, we can get into like
Mhm.
specifics from like copywriting and like what kind of ads, but that's basically the theory of what it is that we're doing.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, and yeah, we want to get into all of the details and the nitty-gritties, but just from a bigger picture level, like what are you seeing results wise? So like cost per lead or cost per call or ROI or any of that good stuff.
So we target content agencies for the most part, like video agencies and just agencies. We're
Mhm.
transitioning to open up our addressable market a little bit more, but cost per lead is about $20 to $25 currently, and then cost per book call, I believe, is anywhere from 200 to 300 from a cost per book call perspective. That's what we're seeing.
Okay. And do you have a ballpark or know what your cost for client acquisition is?
Around $1,000 to $2,000, depending on the day and the month and how much ad spend that we're ripping. What we're
Okay.
finding is, like, the more that we're spending, the higher the cost per acquisition, just
Yeah.
naturally. But yeah.
Okay. That's awesome. So I'm assuming it's a fairly high ticket offer that they're being brought into, correct?
Yep, about 5
Yeah.
figures.
And if you said 4 times ROAS?
Yes, 3 to 4
Okay.
is what kind of our
3 to
our
4.
ambition. So,
Mhm.
it's pretty
Okay.
good.
I think for paid ads, that 3 to 5 times return on ad spend, that's typically where we like to see our clients when they're starting with paid ads and they wanna scale. That's the metric that we look at to say, "Okay, we're at a good place now where, the leads are coming in, we're converting them well, and, for every $1 that we put in ads, we're getting $3 to $5 back out. Now let's
Totally.
start ramping up the ad spend," right? I know a lot of people, if they hear, "Oh, $25 per lead or $300 per book call," they'll they'll see those numbers and they're taken aback a little bit because they're like, "Oh, wow, that's expensive." But the thing is, it's only expensive if you don't make a sale, right? If
Yeah.
you're pulling in if you're putting in $1 and you're getting 3 or $5 back out, you're actually doing really good. That's the kind of numbers that 7 and 8 figure businesses are doing, and that's where, they don't care if they're spending $1,000 to get a booked call if you're getting, if every single person is converting, right?
Mhm.
So if you're converting really well, yeah, then I would say let's spend, 1,000, however much it is, right? 5,000,
Mhm.
$10,000 a day. Let's bring in 5 to 10 clients a day and let's scale this up to 7, 8 figures. So yeah, I think those numbers look awesome. Can we go more into detail about the actual process now? So starting at the very beginning, what are we typically offering on the front end with the ad? So I know a lot of times we like to use like free PDF guides, but you're
Mhm.
saying free trainings or something like that. Is that right?
Yeah. So, from like an ad perspective, the first ad that will run, I'll start with the highest priority ad that will run is a direct message ad, okay? And it is basically it's a product of really good copywriting and really understanding your audience. So if you're listening to this and you're not sure how to write good copy or who your audience even is, then I probably wouldn't like spend money on ads. So the first ad that we're running is like a DM ad. So the two creatives that we're finding work really well is one just like a simple tweet ad. So basically we'll call out the audience and then we'll call out like the desired outcome of them, and then we'll hit on like these steps so that they can outcome of how we can help them. And then we'll have a call to action, which is DM me to learn more or DM for training going over all of these pillars.
Mm,
So you mentioned something, okay, free PDF, free, like just free in general. That
mhm,
that typically like, yeah, your cost per lead is going to be $10, let's call it. But your qualified leads are going to be about 20%. So what we really try to do on the front end of our ads is to add in qualifiers. So income qualifiers, make sure our copywriting is speaking to the pain of the ideal types of customers that we're talking to. Because like if
mhm.
I'm just like, oh yeah, DM me the word free for a free lead gen training, yeah, gonna get hundreds of leads. But are they starting an agency? Do they have one? All that sort of stuff. And it can be a lot for our appointment setters and just like ourself to work through, and then like our closers, like if we do book a call and they're inexperienced. So that's like the most important part is like qualifying as much as in your ad, understanding the copywriting, understanding like who you're actually speaking to, and then using those elements inside of the ad. So the tweet, I say that a lot to say the tweet is one of the ads. And then we'll do like a carousel, which is basically like an education type, like again, a product of copywriting. Maybe I can send you some examples just so you can see them, but it's like, here's how you can achieve X desired outcome in X time frame for agencies doing $20,000 a month plus. And then we kind of educate, but how we're educating them is in a framework of situation, problem, implication, and then you teach them. So, for example, let's just say, like an example. So that's the hook that I just said. The second slide would be like, you are the bottleneck. And then situation would be, most agencies can't scale because they're the bottleneck. And then the problem with this is they're never going to be able to bring on more clients because they're always going to be basically having a job. The implication,
Mhm,
kind of work that in there. What you need to do instead is you need to build systems. Then the next slide, same framework. What's the other pain point that you solve from your offer perspective that you can make polarizing, and then doing like a really good copywriting framework. And then the last slide is DM me for to learn more about how it can help install and basically solve all the pain points for you.
okay. So those financial qualifiers, you're building that into the copy, is that right? It's not necessarily a targeting that you're doing, it's in the copy of the ad.
100%. Like a
Okay,
lot of our ads are like agencies doing $20,000 a month plus, or agencies
gotcha.
doing $30,000 a month plus. And maybe the like cost per lead is a little bit higher, but like the quality is more important
Mhm,
than I think than the volume, with this type of strategy. Because what's worse than getting on a call with somebody who isn't qualified and like isn't a fit? It's like it's just waste everybody's time. Whereas they can just watch our YouTube channel or whatever. That's typically where we
yeah.
guide them.
Yeah, I think I saw a fitness ad that was a lot like that. It was on YouTube though, but it had that
Mm.
financial qualifier. It was like, "Hey, if you're a man that's making at least $150,000 a year, but you've got a flabby body," or something like that, and it's like, "Oh, okay, why am I getting targeted?" But yeah, so yeah, those financial qualifiers, I've seen that a bit, and yeah, that's because especially with Facebook, yeah, I mean, Facebook and Instagram are, the same ads platform. I know that what they've been doing now with their targeting is that any of the targeting that you put in there as far as interests and demographics and things like that, they're using only as suggestions now, right? If you
Yeah.
read the fine print, it's like, yeah, we'll look at these, but really we're just going to serve this to whoever we think needs to be served to. And so I think that's really important. What you're doing is to put those qualifiers in because your copywriting is so much more important now. Because what Facebook
Mhm.
is going to look at as far as who to serve the ad to is who's responding to it, what's in the copy, right? Facebook is using AI or they're using algorithms to read your ads, to look at the imagery, see who, when they start delivering, see who responds, see who's commenting, see who's clicking, see who's stopping their scroll, right? It's doing all these things to figure out who to serve your ad to. So the more that you can put that into the copy to kind of customize who's going to respond to it, who's going to click, and who's going to do all that stuff. I think that's so much more important now is to have good copy because
Mhm.
that's really going to determine who Facebook serves your ad to rather than what you actually put into the targeting parameters. Now, you mentioned these two different types of ads. Are you running these as split tests against each other or are you using one as a retargeting ad for the other?
Yeah, so those will be like more top of funnel ads. So we kind of have like the top
Okay.
of funnel, and then like more like we have really top of the funnel, which is, hey, follow me on Instagram type of ad. And then we have a
Mm,
middle of the funnel, which I would consider like the DM ad, which I just explained. And then we have a bottom of the funnel, which is like retargeting, which is just bottom of the funnel. If you want to blank, 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 DM me for to learn more, essentially. Like a little bit more just like aggressive on the call to action and like work with me type of messaging. So those are like the three sets. Not really like split testing. We're more so just trying to find the winning ad essentially and
mhm,
doubling down on that. Like we've had an ad that gets us really cheap leads, but really unqualified. So we're going to cancel
Yeah.
that one out. So, and unfortunately, like with this strategy, it's really hard to track. Like it's not unlike a VSL or something like that. Like we have some like really good zaps and whatnot and manual and VA tasks doing all of the tracking, but we're looking to find the winning ad that's bringing in the most qualified people and the most amount of people. Like to me,
Oh,
qualified is more important than volume.
right.
At- Like at this point, just because like what you just explained too, from
Yeah.
like that's why it's so important. Like what you said, the copy. It's like I want more qualified people. I don't want more people because we could just be really busy, but if they're not qualified and they're not ideal customer and we can't actually help them and my copywriting isn't speaking to their pain points, then it's going to be really challenging.
I think that's more important than even just on a regular different types of ads that you're running, is because these are actually taking your setter's time every time someone responds. So it's even more important that you're hitting the right leads and the right types of qualified people are being generated so that you're not just having really busy setters that and no one actually moves on to a sales call.
Yeah, or it's taking your time if you don't have setters yet.
Or the customers, yeah, confused, and it's like it's crazy what messaging can do because like even like we used to target like creative agencies, like that was like our thing, like we were like creative agencies, but like is that a video agency? Is that a lead gen agency that does also
Mhm.
creative? Is that a branding agency? So we'd get all these different people interpreting themselves as creative agency. So it's like even like the smallest little tweaks will like really attract like multiple different people. So I think that's like you got to test and find the winning one.
So you mentioned one of the first ads that you'll run kind of top of funnel is the follow me ad. It is so when you run that ad, is that more to just build the authority and build your followers on your main page, or is it are you retargeting those people with the middle of funnel ads later on, or how does that fit into all this?
Yeah. So basically, the intention with the follow is we say something like, "Hey, if you're an agency owner and you're struggling to grow and scale your agency, the main thing that's probably holding you back is you have an empty calendar of sales calls. You don't have any systems in place, and every time you get a client, you're overwhelmed and feel like you like are about to whatever, and you can't find the right talent to bring on your team. If that sounds like you, go ahead and give me a follow here on Instagram and go through all my content where I show agency owners just like you how to grow and scale without adding more hours to your day. Same thing that we did for Gabe. We helped him double his business. Same thing that we did for John, helped him double his business. So if that sounds like you, go ahead and give me a follow. And they follow, and then yeah, they're going to see the retargeting ads. So more of like the very bottom of the funnel ads. They're
Gotcha,
going to go through all of our content, and then we're also going to send them a message. Thanks for following.
gotcha.
Like, by the way, are you also an agency owner? Or did you come here for the content, or are you looking to scale your business? Like, and then
Okay,
that starts a conversation because we're trying to get the ideal people on our page because I think it's like a modern day email list is your Instagram page.
all right. So that sounds more like a video ad that you're running. Is that right?
That's a video ad.
Okay. Yeah, I was
Yep.
gonna say because so if we get too wordy with these, do people even see the caption or the description of the image, or are you putting most of the copy on the image?
For the follow ad for the carousel.
Well, for the carousel ads or for any image ads that are not video ads.
Yep. So for the carousel ads, we'll have a pretty like we have a formula for the caption as well. So the
Mhm,
caption will be like, hey, like kind of like it's more of like a direct offer, I would say in the caption. So we're like, hey, if you're a like we help agencies over $20,000 add more sales calls and also be able to scale their operations so that they can finally scale without burning out. My name's Austin. I scaled my agency to a couple million, blah, 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 blah. Now we're helping agencies deploy blank, 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 blank. So if this sounds like you, just DM me the word blank to learn more about how you can do it. So it kind of couples with the carousel. And
right.
the carousel is like just maybe like 3 sentences per square, I would say, with
Mm,
like a really polarizing headline per square. So like you
sure.
are the bottleneck or like say you need predictable sales, like that would be like a polarizing headline that you can like add some context to on the square.
Gotcha. Okay. So now once people do DM you, what happens in the DMs? Because I'm sure a lot of people are kind of unsure about that process because you probably want to qualify in order to get from the first DM to an actual sales call on your calendar. There's probably quite a process that goes on. So can you describe for us what are we doing in those DMs?
Yeah. Basically just yeah, qualifying them because I mean the beautiful thing about this compared to oh, this random person just booked on my calendar is like we have the opportunity to like make sure the person that's booking is in fact like our perfect or ideal customer. So let's just say someone DMs me the word scale or whatever it is. Then what our appointment setters will do is they'll say, hey, thanks so much for responding. Like, here's a free resource. Mind if I ask you some questions? And then I can point you in the right directions, in the right
Mhm.
direction. Then we'll kind of ask like the current situation. Tell me, like, are you currently an agency owner? How long have you been doing it? Like, awesome, check. And then we'll say, awesome, what are some of the big goals for Q2? What are some of the big goals for the year when it pertains to your agency? Awesome, sweet. Like, relate to them, have a human conversation. It's not like you want to sound robotic. And then maybe you like send them a YouTube video of like, oh, cool. Sounds like you want to like get more clients. Cool. Here's a YouTube video that I made essentially because it's coming from me that I made that you can check out and it'll really help you out with this. Real quick, like really think that we might be able to help you game plan on the goal that they just mentioned. Like would love to jump on a call and game plan on this for you or with you. And then
Mhm.
and then if they agree, then perfect. That's when you book the call. Then obviously there's like extensive follow-up, like when somebody jumps into our system, like if they DM a keyword, we have mini chat set up. And then anytime they opt in for a specific keyword, then they are tagged with that keyword. And that
Mhm.
tag adds them to, we use Airtable. And then that is what the setter is using to manage the volume of DMs that we're getting. And then he'll use Airtable to kind of use as like a pipeline of leads so that he can make sure that he's following up with the right ones and all that sort of stuff. And then we also have a VA that goes through all of the leads that are qualified and we'll send the follow-ups to the people that are in fact qualified because people will ghost or not respond.
Mhm.
And then we have like a
Okay.
pretty hardcore follow-up process.
Okay, great. So in that DM process, are you qualifying them any further as far as financially or timeline, urgency? Are you doing any of that when they after they agree to say yes to a call?
Yeah. So we'll like kind of get some context. Like if they're like just starting, for example,
Mhm.
then like we'll get maybe a little bit more context to see if they're like looking for help or if they have access to financial resources. And then when they book the call, we have a pretty extensive questionnaire that will say, do you
Mhm.
have financial resources? What's your current agency's revenue? What's your goal agency's revenue? And if it's like zero and like I have no financial resources, then we'll go back into the DM and say, hey, real quick, like we don't want to waste your time. Like you mentioned that you have no financial resources. Just want to clarify, like that's true. This isn't a free program. Oh yeah, I don't have any money and like I don't need help. Cool. Here's my YouTube channel. Like go ahead and watch that. And then when you're ready, like we would love to help you out, but don't want to waste each other's time. So
Right.
like we have steps to make sure that when they actually get to the closers calendar, that they're pre-vetted for sure and like they're qualified, I guess you can say.
Okay, so you're sending them a booking link, but that booking link is still has an application form on it before they
Totally.
can book. Okay,
Yep.
gotcha.
Have you tested that against asking them the questions and booking them, having the setter actually do the booking part?
Yeah, it's just a little bit more labor for the
Mhm.
setter specifically because we'll probably get like 100 a day, 100 DMs a day,
Mm.
90, 80 to 100 a day. And that can be a lot to manage. And
Mhm.
typically we just say, hey, can you find some time on your calendar here? Because if you're just playing middleman, it's just a little bit more back and forth and more admin for the sales.
So, you mentioned then there's something about ManyChat. So is that what you're using? Are you partially automating these messages that go out with that as well?
We'll just automate the first message. So, like, let's just say, "Hey, DM me the word blank for free training." We'll automate that first message, and then we'll actually automate a second message, which is just like a question. So if
Mhm,
somebody opts in, that's just so we can track it, because otherwise we'd have no freaking clue. Because you can like
mhm.
tag people in mini chat, and then you can use mini chat and like do a zap, and then add them somewhere else, so you can actually count how many leads you get every single day. But yeah, that's just about it. Is something like, "Hey, here's the resource," and then we'll say, "Are you also an agency owner? Cool if I ask you some questions, and then I can share a little bit more about how this works." Something like that. That's like the second question. Because we wanna make it human,
Okay.
like, if it's too robotic, then yeah, like, people aren't
Mhm.
gonna respond.
Yeah, and I was because 'cause we've run these types of ads before, and we found that adding that little bit of automation just to the first couple messages really saves a bunch of your time messaging with
Totally.
people who are just can be unresponsive.
Yeah.
So I think that's huge. And so you use ManyChat. Have you tested any other sort of chatbot or, messenger applications to automate that, or is ManyChat really the one that you prefer?
I've tried Go High Level. Yeah, because they have that
Yeah.
feature, but it was just, like, all of the DMs went in the conversation tab, and it was just, like, a little bit clunky and a little bit harder for me to use. ManyChat's just, like, very simple, so that's why
Mhm.
we like it.
I'm curious if you're getting them on a discovery call that and then set to a sales call, or is that call directly the sales call itself?
Yeah, depends on the prospect. Sometimes we'll triage them just if they're like not that qualified. Like if it's a question
Mhm.
mark on if this person is actually qualified, then we'll triage them. But if they are qualified and they're vetted, then we'll for sure just go direct to one of our closers. We'll more so triage any like direct bookings. So like let's just say somebody books
Mm.
from our VSL or from our YouTube channel, then we'll definitely triage that. And then, but
Okay.
like this, you can vet a lot in the DMs and like know if they're qualified. And then if our appointment setter is actually doing the triage call, so he'll like take the call and with the context and then can like ask the questions to make sure that this is
Mhm.
going to be a fit. And then also before the call, we might call the prospect beforehand and then just like confirm some details to make sure that they're actually like legit.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
Nice.
I'm curious because I know we've had a guest in the past that was doing a very similar strategy, but he was doing this with Facebook ads. Have you tested this on Facebook or other platforms, or is the only place that you've done this?
I haven't tested it on Facebook, haven't tested it on LinkedIn. I'm sure that it would work very similarly and probably be just as effective for sure.
So I love this funnel. We've used something very similar in the past. We've had other people on the podcast who are doing something very similar and had a lot of success with it. So I think it's definitely worth testing and trying and playing with for people. So thank you so much for sharing that. Now, the next phase of this conversation, right, is looking at how coaches, course creators, people in the info product space and sharing knowledge, how they can really increase their revenue by now switching gears a little bit and starting to add maybe some done for you options to what they're already doing. So, with that in mind, do you think that's a good idea? Do you think, have you seen this work for folks? Like, dive into this a little bit for us.
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, like coaches and course creators and just coaches and consultants, like they're popping up left and right. And
Mhm.
I think the expectations of the consumer is I don't want to like jump on one-to-ones or a group call and then just be flooded with a bunch of information and then not know what
Mhm.
to do with that information.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
what they expect and what we should do as coaches, in my opinion, is we need to do everything that we can humanly do for our clients to get them to the outcome. And I think there's elements that we can incorporate into our offer that will allow you to just do that for them because you and I both know, and probably everybody listening, you get the people that jump in and they don't do anything or
Mhm.
they require like a lot of hand holding or they require just like really spoon feeding every single element and into their business. And you maybe have the urge to be like, I just want to dive in and like just do this for you. And yeah, so I think it's coupling the one clients are probably more expecting it. Two, you can sweeten up your offer and be way different. And three, you're gonna get your clients way more success because you can kind of like anybody who like needs more spoon feeding or more help will like have success in all that sort of stuff. So for example, how we do that is we help agencies. We have like a video editing service because we tell people they need to build a brand. Like oftentimes they'll creating videos for their clients. We just partnered up with somebody who's like a white label editing agency. Now you get access and we'll do the edits for you. Okay. So that's like number one example. Two, we partnered up with a sales agency. Oh, I can't set and close appointments. Okay. We can teach you how to do it. We can teach you how to do it. Cool. Why don't we just place appointment setters and closers that are commission based into your business? And then we'll
Mhm.
just do that for you. Awesome. Problem solved. Three, I can't find good people to work for us. Here's the job description. Here's how you post it. Here's how you interview. Here's our recruiter. Like you can pay him and he'll do everything for you. And he'll find, recruit, and retain and teach you how to like get your talent up to speed. So those are like examples that what we do. And just kind of like spoon feeds just makes it no excuse for them to do well. Systems. Oh, I have good systems. Cool. We'll build out your systems for you using the template that we've already built out. So those are some things that we're doing to just like copy and paste and just like set them up for success.
So this isn't necessarily things that you are actually doing for them. It's team members or resources that you know of that you can tap into so that it's not taking any of your time, but it's something that you can offer as part of your package that will add value that necessarily mean that you're doing more work, right?
Yes. So from like a coach's perspective, like it all comes down to offer. Okay, what is it that you're
Mhm.
offering and what are the client's desired outcomes? Cool. What is the roadmap to get your clients to the outcome? Like how do you productize that? Here's the 12-step process, whatever that could be. And then all you need to do is maybe look at it and be like, okay, cool. What could I do for them? Who could I bring on my team to help support this? So I still make a decent margin, but I can have a resource help me with this sort of stuff to help the client. That's how I would look at it is like, you
Mhm.
probably have an offer. You probably have an outcome. their clients are where they are right now. They want to go here. How do you do it? Step by step that out. And then either like build in checkpoints or like things that you can do for them that like are going to be a bottleneck for you too, getting them to their success, and then just do that for them essentially.
Yeah, I know for us, part of that process was just looking at like what are the main objections people have to buying and joining right now, and then how can we use those done for you services to kind of get rid of those objections. So,
Yeah.
like for us, one of the things that a lot of times hold people back is, I'm horrible with tech. I don't want to have to get into funnels. I goof things up. I don't even know how to log into these things. Blah blah blah. And so we'll do some of the done for you funnel building and things like that for them.
Huh.
Another one is course creation. A lot of people will say, yeah, well, I'm just starting out. I want to have my course created first before I, worry about marketing and things like that. And so we've got a team member that's really good at, and she can take, whatever resource you have, whether it's a previous training or a book or anything like that. She can take that and
Nice.
she can format it into a course in, 30 to 60 days. And she's very good at it. And she'll script out all your videos, get all the resources in there and everything. And so that takes away that objection. So I know that those are things that we add that, increase our sales because we're just removing objections people have to joining.
Totally. It makes you different, and like it gives them peace of mind because people are just skeptical about coaches and consultants because it's
Mm.
the barrier of entry is absolutely zero. And there's some really good ones and there's some unfortunate poor ones who want to word vomit information to you or just like get you in for a deal and like don't have a process, haven't done it for themselves, don't have like a roadmap, like don't really have any accountability checkpoints. And it's like, yeah, no wonder. So I
Yeah.
think that's the stuff that like gets people from like skeptical to like, cool, I trust you because you guys have done this 100 times, have a roadmap, have a process, have a team, all that sort of stuff. Understand their pain points, empathize with them.
Yeah. And I think that's a good point. There's a lot of people who know how to say the right things, right? Like if you're a marketer, you know how to say the right things, but you don't necessarily know how to deliver on that all the time. Well, and it's kind of one of the bigger problems in the industry in general is that people are taught to make these huge, big, scary promises and then,
Yeah.
find some way to deliver on the back end. But a lot of people, they make those big, scary promises and they have no idea how to deliver on the back end. And that's where we
Yeah.
get a lot of that, lack of trust. And yeah, it's so finding a way to differentiate yourself and just kind of have that little extra that nobody else is offering, I think is really important.
Agreed.
Awesome. I think this has been a great conversation for everyone. We really appreciate you, Austin. If there's somewhere that if you want to connect with you in some way, where should they head?
Yeah, probably on Instagram, the Austin Schneider, and then YouTube for everything that we talked about from the perspective of ads and all that sort of stuff. Might make a little bit more sense if you just watch a couple of my videos because I literally just give everything away on YouTube, and that's full training. So you could just get everything step by step in YouTube, even if you are a coach.
We'll have the links in the show notes and description. We really appreciate you, Austin. Thank you. You've been listening to the Digital Trailblazer podcast. For show notes and information about today's guest, head to digitaltrailblazer.com. Now, if you love this episode, if you got some value, make sure you leave us a review and subscribe. And be sure to share this episode with anyone you know who could use help to build their business. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.